Reseller Clickbait Podcast, episode 87.
Good morning, Ken.
Where's your attire?
What attire?
I thought when we talked earlier, you had said that this was going to be our special Valentine's episode because Valentine's is coming up just like in 2 days. And you were like, let's just do an episode where we like dedicate the whole show to like love and relationships. And
yeah, that's me, the romantic. We did sell a pair of like polka dotted pink LuLaRoe leggings that had hearts as the dots the other day. So that was our festive Valentine's Day. That was it. That was as good as it gets right there.
Anytime you can move along a LuLaRoe item, that's by the way is not Lululemon. I think I learned that from you, Cory, in your big buy one time. It's the lemon you want. But I got my bright pink shirt on today. If you're just listening over there on Spotify or iTunes or something, tune into the
We're sitting backstage for like 15 minutes here getting ready to hit record, and it never dawned on me why you were wearing a pink shirt. I was like, I know we did the breast cancer awareness thing once. Like that's all over with. So this is just a random. I thought it was just a color choice today.
No, this is my festive Valentine's attire, and I decorated back here. I got my wreath thing here that Jill had made me. Oh, look at this cool gnome.
Valentine's gnome.
You know where I got that? I got that from my friend Lisette, New England Betty Boop. She was on one of her whatnot auctions. She was doing a giveaway, and I won.
There you go.
I have a pretty good history or a pretty good track record of winning.
Can't imagine why she would want to give that away.
Oh, I just fell down. Why no? And it was brand new. And if I look, just crinkly cellophane right there. It was all in, brand new. So I'll set that guy right up there. So yeah, I got a little bit of festive. So we're not talking about love and relationships in this episode at all.
Well, I mean, we can. I don't know. I don't know what kind of conversation that's going to be, but we can give it a whirl.
Oh, here we could say, speaking of love and relationships, how about that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce? Going to be. That's the whole talk of the Super Bowl. So today, when we're recording, today is the Super Bowl. And what's your prediction, Cory? We're not a sports talk show, but I know how much you love sports. My prediction is
a whole bunch of really stupid people get a whole lot stupider today. That's my prediction. You're going to have a bunch of middle-aged, overweight men talking about how they won the Super Bowl, and I don't know how they're contributing, but that's kind of the vibe we're going to get for the next week here. Either that or they're upset that their team lost, like they were a big part of the team. I don't get it.
I don't have a horse in the race, of course. Being a Cleveland Browns fan, I'll probably never have a horse in the race. Oh, but wait till next year. That's our team motto. Wait till next year.
Wait till next year.
But I'm going to go ahead and throw out a prediction just, because this will come out the next day after the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I'm picking San Francisco, the San Francisco 49ers, just because there's only two teams and I have to pick one. Kansas City wins, the Chiefs, I'm okay with that. It doesn't really matter. I got reasons on both sides, but I'll make an all official.
Well, now I know who's playing.
Right. Yes, it is the Kansas City Chiefs against the San Francisco 49ers.
That's Taylor Swift's team, right?
That's Kansas City. Yeah, that's Taylor Swift's team.
Yeah. Taylor
out
sounds
in Las
fast.
Vegas, which I've seen some of the stuff, that big giant sphere.
Are they playing in Vegas?
Yeah, they're playing at where the Raiders play there in Las Vegas. And they're doing some really cool stuff with that big sphere thing, which that sucked because when we were out in Vegas for a meetup back earlier in the year, or no, last year.
April.
Man, it's almost been a year since that.
Yep, it's almost a year.
But they didn't. They were just putting. It was going to be like the next week after we were there.
Yeah, we didn't get to see that. We saw the giant ball in the middle of the city, but it wasn't turned on.
Yeah, so I missed that. That's pretty cool. But they've been doing some pretty cool graphic stuff on that for the Super Bowl. So I'll be tuning in to see some of that.
How many accidents that thing causes? people rubbernecking to see what's on the big ball in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
I could see that thing being a problem. Wonder what that looks like from the sky. That'd be cool to fly over.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll have some drone shot. Oh, I seen a cool thing. Speaking of drones, I seen a thing the other day where I think it was down in Texas that these people did this big drone thing up in the sky. You know how they do the drones now that form, all kinds of cool stuff up in the air. And the people that put it on, they did it, and it ended up making this great big huge barcode up in the sky. And
like a QR code or just an old school barcode?
Oh yeah, like no, yeah, QR code. That's what I meant.
Okay,
QR code. So all these shows, like 500 drones, formed this big QR code, and so everybody,
old school barcode, like they're obsolete. They're still being used all the time.
I have QR codes for all my Christmas tubs out in the garage. Like all of my Christmas decorations are organized in the tubs, and I made QR codes for the fronts of all of the boxes. So I could just go out and scan. I know exactly.
What does it go to when you scan them? Or does it just tell you what's in them?
Well, it just opens like a text, page or whatever that tells me all what's in them. And whenever I add something new or something of significance to it, I will go in and modify that text document. So,
see, I have a system that's pretty similar to that. But mine's voice activated. I just say, "Hey, Teresa, what's in this tub?" And then she tells me.
I need to work on that. Can I borrow Teresa next Christmas season? She can come over and
we can work something out. I'll send her your way.
But this big barcode that was like up in the sky, then everybody's hitting it with their phone, and it was, if I say you got rickrolled, do you know what I'm talking about? Rickroll. It was the link from the QR code went to the Rick Astley. Yeah. It's like it was the most elaborate Rick rolling in That's
history. Good. That'd be cool to see. I've never seen. I mean, I've seen a few online where you get the video of it, but I've never seen it in person where they do that with the drones and stuff. That's pretty cool.
It was a cool stunt. All the news organizations were there to see, what this big presentation was. And it was just everybody getting rickrolled. I loved it.
See, it's a good thing drones aren't cheaper, because I would buy like a really expensive one that I could go like dump a cat litter box on the neighbor's house with or something. Like I'd be pranking people with that thing. I'd get in trouble.
I have a drone. I haven't used it for a while.
We just sold one. Just not one big enough to carry a turd mine.
Oh man, I keep drinking water. I spent my evening last night singing. I was, singing.
Figured you were dehydrated because you were out drinking or something. No, just sang yourself dry.
I did. One of our friends, it was their birthday. Well, actually, birthday is today, Monday. So happy birthday,
Kim. So
Kim.
Doing karaoke night?
Kim's not. Well, it was piano, like a dueling pianos. I don't know if you ever seen one of those dueling piano shows, and just a lot of fun hanging out with our group of friends. We went and had some Mexican
Generally, those
food.
are not sing-alongs.
Well, from your seat there, they're not usually like a karaoke, but everybody sings along and they play.
So you were not invited to sing; you just sang.
Involuntary performance, right there. Involuntary for the
poor
for
people.
The rest of the crowd. But the music and everything, and the crowd is so loud. You got to kind of, if you want to get up above the rest of the crowd, you got to raise your voice in song. And so yeah, my voice is a little bit because I don't know. The show was like.
Well, I'm glad you saved a little for us today.
And
so what kind of songs were we singing?
Oh, just
just Taylor Swift hits?
All kind of yes. It was a whole dueling pianos of Taylor Swift.
I don't think I could name a Taylor Swift song.
Lots of classic rock songs. Like
Megadeth 80s, and 90s. Rap.
Well, no, not that. Those are my classic songs.
Those are my classics too.
Old time rock and roll, Brick House. I remember they did once. I don't know, some country tunes. Just I don't know. Go watch a dueling pianos show or look up we had looked up like what are the best, because a lot of times at those shows you try to stump those people to, put out suggestions.
Are you giving them requests?
Might not know. Yeah. Give out requests. I gotcha. And stuff.
That's kind of cool.
And they
you should have recorded part of it so we could see.
I did. Maybe I did.
That'd be kind of cool to watch. Now I'm going to have to find a dueling piano and go watch, see what that is.
Let me see what this
What brought out a song in Ken's heart? Uh-oh.
They did
Bop.
Oh, they should have done Bop, the greatest song ever written. I keep my Hanson Bop cassette right here above me. I got that as a
You did
gift.
have that really close. That was way too easy to get a hold of.
It's right there. My friends Frank and Janelle over at FJ Treasures sent that to me. They found that like at a thrift or a yard sale or something like that, and thought of me and sent it along. So I keep it displayed right up there so I can remember Hanson. I'm never going to forget Hanson, but I want to remember my friends Frank and Janelle. So there they are, right there. But then so my voice is like hoarse or whatever. I don't know how it's coming across. It's after all the
sounds
singing.
Fine. No, you sound like you're ready to sing again.
I was getting, it's a little bit scratchy, so it's deeper. I was thinking, we were going to do this special episode. This one's for all you lovers out there.
You're just getting ready to break out Tennessee whiskey today. And
yeah. Oh, they did play some a couple of Toby Keith tunes. R.I.P. to Toby Keith.
Did he die?
Passed away. Yeah, like last week or mid last week or whatever, or something like that. Toby Keith had passed away. He was always entertaining.
He was fighting cancer or something, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I knew I heard something about it, but I didn't know he actually passed.
Yep, it was just last week. It was. Do you guys not have news there in South Dakota? Is that what it is?
No, it's just that I choose not to watch it.
Gotcha. I'm not a news watching guy. Well, every day at coffee time when I go next door to my folks, they have like the local 6 o'clock news is on. And
I get my news on Ken versus 10 usually.
Yeah. I have to remember.
So I turn in for my world events.
Oh, you're gonna get it there as macaroni and cheese reviews. And
that's the one that matters.
I'm doing one of those here this week. I got here, shameless plug. Ken versus 10 Thursdays, 11 a.m. Eastern time, over on my channel, SSKPromo.
Which mac and cheese are we doing this week? Well, here I am, like one of them Superbowl fans, like I'm participating. Which one of the mac and cheeses are you doing this week?
Well, I may be doing either one of two. I might be doing one of like a different flavored one. I don't have them in here. There's, I don't know, like maybe a jalapeno one, or it was suggested to by Alicia, the inked picker, to do the Bob Evans.
Oh, that's right.
No, wait,
I saw that.
Was it?
It's like pre-made stuff.
Yeah, the Bob Evans, whatever, mac and cheese. Oh, speaking of, okay, so I got punked. I think I got punked. Anyway, Alicia, the ink picker, who you've been working closely with here on Planes to Profits. She's part of one of those. So that meetup is what, 10?
It's coming up in like 10 days, 11 days.
Yeah.
23rd and 24th. Yep.
Yeah. So Planes to Profit. And if you haven't got your tickets by now, you're almost out of luck, right?
You're almost out of time now. There's 8 or 9 tickets left, I think is all. So
that's great. That's great.
Sounds like we're going to fill it up pretty decent.
That's cool. I'm excited to see that. All the goings on from that event. So go check out planetoprofit.com. But so I get a message from Alicia the other day. She was doing a live and she said, "Hey, do you want to come on the live with me?" And I was like, "Sure." I was just sitting there watching TV and anyway, so sure, I'll come in and get set up and so she does that, and then the thumbnail comes out. Jill had sent this picture to me. I don't know. I'll put this up here if this comes up or not. Let me do that.
Girls Talk
right there. Reseller Live Girl Talk, and so, somehow I'm on the thumbnail with Alicia for Reseller. Had I known, I'd have worn my pink shirt that day. But yeah, I got.
Well, then it would have been dirty for today. How would you have celebrated Happy Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, whatever the heck it is today.
Oh, yeah, is there a Thanksgiving dinner? Oh, usually Thanksgiving or not thanks. Now you got me all messed up. What holiday is February?
Do you celebrate with a dinner for Valentine's Day too? Like, is there an event?
Well, no, that's usually like, Jill and I will go out, to dinner. That's usually when you go out to dinner someplace, someplace really nice.
That'd be the worst time.
Like the Chipotle or something like that,
Isn't Valentine's Day like the busiest day of the year for restaurants?
Probably so. I would think so.
Why would you go out in public on that day?
Well,
that's a horrible decision. Your decision-making skills are horrible.
Well, you're 100% correct on that. And that's just like life in general. That's not,
So you should
Valentine's
prep the week before and stay home and just make a dinner for the two of you or something. One, it's more romantic if that's what you're going for. And two, you don't have to see other people, which is also romantic.
Plus, this is true. I owe Jill a home cooked dinner. Like that was a Christmas gift to her. We're having crab legs.
And it sounds like you've already got like boxes of macaroni and cheese to try. So you've got half the dinner bought.
Nothing more romantic than Kraft macaroni and cheese, because macaroni fills your belly and feeds your feeds your soul. Anyway, enough of that goofiness. Oh, so then okay, where was I? I was talking about, we went to the piano bar thing, dueling pianos. And then I'm getting too old, Cory, well, first of all, I found out at something like that I'm just old anyway, because by the first intermission, it was like, it's loud in here and I could just be at home watching TV but it was fun. It was fun. But then I come home, so it's pretty late at night. So I'm over in Jillstown, which is about 45 minutes away from my house. So I drive home, get home, sending some texts out, that to Jill and some of our friends that I had arrived home safely. Well, in that amount of time that it took me to send those texts out, the overhead garage light, when you open the door and the light comes
stays on for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it didn't stay on long enough for me. And so I'm getting out of the car and I'm kind of, with all of this junk that's in my garage, kind of, just have this little path to get through. Well, I fell down last night. So here I come. I'm coming out of the garage and I tripped over something that was there that I couldn't see. So, my big old cup goes every place. There's my phone, I throw it, across the driveway, keys, everything. And I almost caught myself. I almost had the balance, the balance of a cat, where I was going to land on all fours, but no, I landed on I landed on everything, because I went down in the gravel, I like on my elbow, and then rolling over on my other elbow, my hip. I skinned up my knee through my pants, kind of ruffled up my pants, almost put a hole in the knee. And so I'm out there and this was right about almost 1 o'clock, maybe about 5-10 minutes till, I'm at 1 o'clock in the morning, laying out in the driveway, just like laying there thinking, okay, I hope nothing's like seriously damaged here. And, but at least I hadn't thrown my phone far enough away where I wouldn't have been able to get it and call somebody, like call the folks or 911. I probably have a better chance of having 911 get there quicker than my folks would be able to get up out of bed and make their way over.
Probably. I don't know why I'm laughing at that. I feel like kind of a horrible person now, but the thought of that is freaking hilarious.
Yeah. After the fact, after I, drug myself up off the driveway in the middle of the night, and it was cold, I just kind of laid there for a few minutes thinking, really, Ken? Really? You fell down. So
you could have just turned a light on your phone. Well, you didn't have to walk through it in the dark.
Well, it's like right there. I get out of the car and it's right there, and I do that all the time. I don't know what. I must have set something there during the day that made me.
Probably something you should have listed and put away.
You're probably 100% correct, because that's usually when I get it. I set stuff, in some incoming stuff that's new. I set right there,
Well, I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you weren't seriously injured.
But today it was tough to get out of bed this morning. I was just like, got this scratchy throat. I got, a banged up knee. I'm just like all stoved up. That
Out trying to party like a 20-year-old.
Yeah. And it's like, man, I got to get out of bed this morning and go record a podcast. So what we're going to, I figure maybe that'll jazz me up.
I get to get out of bed and record a podcast.
There's nothing brings more joy to my life than getting up early and seeing Cory like first thing. So when
I know
the sleep, I haven't, the Sandman is still in the corners of my eyes here. And then
I get the same thing every morning. I get up and look in the mirror, and then I get angry with the mirror for showing me back. I get it. I feel your pain.
So I thought we would, maybe we'd have this rip-roaring exciting topic that we wanted.
We do
to
need
talk
an
about
exciting
today.
topic today.
And I think, I think the topic that's on everybody's list, or, right now, just what more exciting topic can you get than taxes? So
taxes.
We're gonna talk about. Well, at first I thought Cory had sent me a message. Maybe it was like an autocorrect or something. I thought he wanted to talk about taxis, and I'm thinking like, we don't even have like, my town is small. We don't have like Uber or anything. I'm thinking, well, taxis. What, maybe he has something new that he knows about. That's maybe he's
nothing more exciting than overpaying for a ride.
Yeah, we don't have like, I've only ever done like an Uber. Well, a couple times when the aforementioned Vegas trip, we were doing the Uber, and that was pretty cool with the app and stuff. It's amazing what a small town guy finds exciting. Is
the Uber.
Get on your phone, and all of a sudden some dude shows up and picks
we
you
weren't
up
sure about the Uber thing the first time we used it either. That takes some getting used to. I mean, we did grow up in a generation where they told you never get in a car with a stranger, and now you could just order a stranger, and it's weird.
I guess I never thought about that. I requested, a big white panel van and maybe extra candy.
Can I get the creepiest shit you got? just send it over. It's like duct tape and rope in the back when I get in. So yeah, we did. We did decide to talk about taxes. Now, I will say we were way more excited about this conversation yesterday.
Yeah.
Than we are this morning. There's something about morning and taxes that really throws you off.
It does. Yes.
I don't know why.
Taxes that really throw you off at some
point.
Well,
4 in the afternoon, taxes are a little bit. They get your blood going. There's nothing wrong with taxes at 4 in the afternoon. It's 7 in the morning, and just the word taxes tastes different.
It does.
It ain't good.
We were just having a conversation the other day about stuff coming up and having to do our taxes, because this is the tax time of year, the tax season, if you will. It's not as fun as the Christmas season, but it's here nonetheless.
Surprisingly.
So
it is the season of giving.
This is true. So I might as well give 50% of my income
to right.
The government for them to.
All that hard work you did, now you get to give some of it back.
That's right.
Well, hopefully you don't have to give any of it back. That maybe the conversation will help not have to give as much.
Yeah. So we kind of just were kicking stuff around between when it's like, oh, maybe we should talk about that a little bit. So
I don't know how to rip the Band-Aid off. I don't know how to rip the Band-Aid off and start talking about taxes.
Okay.
Like, how do we here?
Well, I think
no, that won't work.
That's not the start right there. Okay. Yeah, it is tax season, and for those of us that are resellers or whatever, it's that time when you kind of got to figure out
that's
what money you may
the reseller thing is different for most people. If you're new to reselling, especially if you're coming from a job where you've gotten a W-2 every year, I think this is the tax season is. Your first tax season as a reseller probably is a little scary. Yes. Mostly because people don't understand the difference between a W-2 and a 1099.
Yes.
And I think that differentiation, that's a big word for morning time too. That
differentiation, yes.
Difference between the two is a pretty important difference. Like with your W-2s from a job, everything's already been taken care of. They've taken your taxes out of it.
Yes.
Your deductions are all taken care of with your W-2. So when you get that, you just got to plug the numbers in, basically. If you're doing a simple like 1040 easy filing or whatever, which a simple filing, you're not going to deduct, you're not going to itemize everything, which on that you don't have to. And on the 1099, it's basically the same thing. It's your income statement, but nothing's taken out of it. Like it's all income. So you're going to get taxed on 100% of it. So it's our job to try and figure out what those deductions are and get them out of that, so we pay as little back or pay taxes on as little as we can.
Yes. Yeah, that's
did any of that make sense?
Well, it did to me, because
okay, well, that's all that matters.
That first the first year, this is about my fourth year. I'm well, actually, hey, today is also my I don't know, it depends on how you consider it. This is my reselling anniversary in
February 11th.
February the 11th, which is when we're recording this. February the 11th of 2020 is when I listed my very first item for sale on eBay. And but it wasn't, so I don't know what's really my anniversary. I listed my first item. It's got to be the day you
sold your first thing.
So that took until February 23rd before I actually sold my first item as a reseller on eBay, because I had sold some stuff years ago on eBay, just hey, let's try that, back when you had to wait for a check and a money order and all that, or something to come through.
I guess if you remembered February 11th, it must have felt like you were a reseller, so maybe that could be your anniversary.
So
you just got to pick one. You're not allowed to celebrate both days.
No, but see, that's me. I'm all about celebrating something, coming up with a reason to do something. So it's people today.
Like you, why we have all these new holidays, these national barbecue chip day and dumb crap like that. They're just popping up for no reason.
First day of reselling day. But I listed my first item, and then the 23rd, I sold my first item, which was like, cool. It's like all of a sudden my phone just, cha-ching. I had never heard that before. And it's like, man, what the heck is that sound on my phone? It's like, and you see the little like eBay icon up in the notification area. And
they picked a good sound for that notification, because that sound just sounds like money.
I'm a reseller. I sold something.
I'm a reseller.
It was a pair of Nike Trout baseball cleats is what I sold. And then
like baseball cleats?
Yeah, baseball cleats.
See, I sold a baseball. I think it was baseball. No, it was a basketball coach bobblehead.
Was your first item?
Was the first thing we sold. Yeah, we picked it up for $1 at a Goodwill, and it sold for $109.
Sweet.
It was the first thing we bought. It was the first thing we sold.
Mine sold for like $17.99 or something like that. But
see, sports ball ain't all bad.
No, it sells. But see, right there with my $17.99 sale on February 23rd, I had to start paying taxes as a reseller. I think that's one of the things when I see a lot of, at this time of year, you see a lot of YouTube and a lot of stuff that's talking about taxes, and you see the question that comes up all the time is, how much can I sell on eBay or whatever platform, Poshmark, Cory, anything. How much can I sell before I have to pay taxes? And technically the answer is, anybody? $1. I mean, you're supposed to pay taxes on all of your sales. There are certain, again, we're not discussing this as if we're tax accountants or anything like that, or giving any advice, just more of a conversation about what we do.
Well, if this podcast is anything, it's a serious podcast. So,
oh yes, and
we're definitely trying to bring some real value here today. But he's right. We're not tax people.
People should hang on every word, and what we say is the gospel, and that's
take it to the bank.
But there's you get those conversations. How much can I sell before? And then I think I also see out there's we were talking about the differences between the W-2 and the 1099. Now, a 1099 is something that an establishment, like an eBay or Poshmark, Mercari, any of those, Whatnot, if you sell on Whatnot,
Yep.
at what point that entity has to report that or has to submit that as part of your income to the government.
It's a threshold at which why am I talking like that? It's basically the spot where you make a certain amount, and once you hit that level, they have to send you that form.
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of the number you're talking about, and then everybody was kind of freaking out about it going to the $600 mark, which
yes,
wouldn't have made any difference at all to us, because we're not. It would have made a difference to us if we were of that mindset.
yes,
that I don't want to pay taxes until I hit this amount, but we were going to go over the amount no matter what they put it at. They could have put it at 10 grand. I don't plan on living on 10 grand this year, so I'm going to make more than that anyway. So well, hopefully, I mean, if I'm halfway good at doing this, so
I think
it wouldn't have mattered for us.
Seen out there where people kind of are maybe think that a little bit backwards, like, oh, I can sell up to, like, right now that threshold is at 20,000. They were supposed to change it. You had talked about that to the $600 before they had to start reporting. Currently, I think it is at the 20,000. That doesn't mean that you can sell up to $20,000 and not have to pay taxes on it. You're supposed to pay taxes on everything, and hey, you do you. That's however you want to handle your situation.
They're partying out there saying, yes, I can make an unlivable wage and evade taxes.
Yes, exactly. There's none of that. There's some of that stuff, if you're selling stuff as a, just a hobby seller or almost like a garage sale sort of thing,
income.
Where if it's your own personal items that you bought and paid for, and you can sell them, within a limited amount. But that's not the route we were going to go down. We were just talking about, number one, what's that difference between the W-2 and the 1099, but how do you take that number that you got on that 1099 and get it as close to
pay the least amount on it as possible?
Yes.
Yep. How do you actually pay those taxes, or not? I wouldn't even want to say avoid paying the taxes. How do you pay the right amount of taxes and not overpay? Because if you don't take your deductions, that's what you're doing. You're not being a more upstanding person by paying more taxes. You're just overpaying on what you should be paying. You don't have to pay that much. So you want to take as many deductions as you can. And there's a lot of categories for those deductions. And I think that's kind of where our conversation went yesterday while we were more awake.
Yes, exactly.
And better equipped to talk about a topic like this. But I know the first one, and there's a lot of nuance in this category, which is kind of why I put it first to get it out of the way. That's the home office deduction. No,
yes.
I don't know if we can even talk incredibly intelligent about this one, other than to say there is a home office deduction. If you're using your house for any part of your reselling business, there's a deduction there you can take.
Yeah.
And how much of that and what applies there, like I said, there's a lot of nuance there. That one takes a little looking into, and I can't give you that. But there is a deduction there to be had.
Formula that goes for that. In my situation, I have certain parts of my house. This office that I'm here out in the garage where I store some stuff is all I can figure that it's like a formula of square footage and how much you're using, and that it is a deduction. And if you're using some of that, definitely figure it out and try to, as best you can. I doubt the government's ever going to show up at your house and, measure the spot
your
where
office.
You have the racks. Have your inventory, stacked. But I don't
know. They just hired like 20,000 more IRS agents, didn't they? Maybe they will. Maybe that's their first order of business. Everybody gets tape measure.
They issued them all. Of which they probably bought using our tax dollars. See?
They most definitely did.
They're buying, but they're keeping the tape measure industry in business, because I'm sure the $5 tape measure they probably paid at least $1,500 for it.
I think another deduction a lot of people kind of neglect to take, and I know we have not taken it in the past, which you should. That's your cell phone. I mean, that one's kind of a big one.
Yeah.
You are allowed to deduct your cell phone if you use it for strictly business. Now, you're allowed to deduct it if you use it for business at all, but how much you use it and if you use it for anything else depends on whether or not you're allowed to deduct all of it or half of it.
Yeah.
So we use ours for all of our comping, all of our listing, all of that, but we also use it for a cell phone. We use it every day for our personal phones. So we could technically deduct, 50% of our cell phone usage, our cell phone bills.
Definitely a good one. Yeah, I would say probably the majority of my phone use is I use it to take the photographs. I use it to comp stuff. I use it to list stuff. I use it to talk to Cory about reselling. And that's
a big one
that's
there.
all part of it. Yeah. So definitely a good deduction.
Yep. Auto mileage, your car mileage. That's probably our biggest deduction. That one's a big one for us, especially this year where they're at like 65 and a half cents a mile.
Yeah.
And our closest town we source in is like an hour away. So every week we're putting on a couple hundred miles, at least a couple hundred miles sourcing.
Yeah, that's and that one can be, there's different ways that one's figured too. I know a lot of people, how you keep your mileage. Some people might not take that one because it's like, well, how do I even go about? I'm not going to track the mileage every time I go there. There are different apps and stuff I've seen people use for that. You were telling me you have like just a logbook. When you go out to do your sourcing, you write down the mileage, you come back, you write down the mileage. It can be some simple math. I do something similar to that. I do definitely track my mileage, but kind of in general over, it's my round to go to the post office and do that. And I usually hit the thrifts it's this much of a mileage and I'm going to do that X amount of days a year, X amount of days a year. I'm going to do this when I go yard sailing. I spend X amount of time, and then if I go to the different towns, I do that. So I'm keeping, I think, a good enough record of that stuff, that if there was, the dreaded A word, if one were to get, I've been called the dreaded A word before, but no, if one were to get audited or whatever, I think, I don't know. I don't know how all the tax rules and all of that stuff goes, but I think if you're honestly trying to have good records and stuff like that, and if you do get audited,
good general rule of thumb is avoid tax fraud if you can. I mean, be honest, but also be honest with yourself and take every deduction you're able to take.
Yeah.
And that when you get a 1099, that's literally your job is to fill in the deductions part. You need to fill in the parts you can deduct. So I wouldn't skimp there. I would take whatever you're allowed to take. But at the same time, you're right. Like, don't fudge anything. Be honest.
Yeah. Don't if you're not trying to skirt around stuff. And, I guess really whether it's good advice or not, I do all of my own personal taxes. I do it all myself. I don't have a CPA or any sort of a tax accountant that does stuff. That is good advice. If you are not sure about what you're doing or you want to know, talk to a professional about it. They can help.
And there's even an intermediate step there too. You could go directly to like a TurboTax type program, which is what like Teresa's an accountant, so we've always done our own taxes, but she uses TurboTax every year. It's like $40, and we buy it for our main, like our S Corp side.
Yes.
But we also use it for this.
Guess what, Cory? Guess what?
What?
That $40 fee to get that TurboTax is deductible.
Deductible. Yep. TurboTax is really good too because it walks you through every piece of the form, every number you have to put in. There's a little box by it that brings you to a new page that tells you all the information you need to know about that number they're asking for. It gives you all the rules, and it's a very simplified explanation of the tax code. They don't just give you the tax code and here it is. They explain it really well. So just to step someone through who's never done it before, I think TurboTax does a really good job of it.
Yes.
But there is if you want to go all the way and you just don't get it, definitely go find somebody
Yeah.
Go find a
And
tax
like I say,
accountant to help you.
you use the TurboTax. There's all, all kinds of, we're not pitching TurboTax. Use what you want. Do what,
Yeah.
I built my own spreadsheet in Excel that I'm able to take all of the reports and stuff that you can download from eBay about your sales over the year. And I plug all that stuff into my spreadsheet and it gives me all the numbers, the deductions and stuff. I got to put those in, and whatever my sales, cost of goods and all of that stuff is, I did mine myself, and then I do my own taxes. So
Yep.
whatever
Do you just
way
fill them out on paper and mail it in?
No, then I go to like an online, like a free filing thing. I forget even which one that I use. I used to use the TurboTax, but they did away with that, like
The free file?
self-employed free filing thing or something like that. It's all a paid thing. And so there are some free services out there where when you have all of the right numbers, then you just plug them in and
Plug 'em
it
in.
will file it for you. Your federal and your state. And then I have to hand do my city taxes because they're not technological at all in my city. They just still have paper that they send to you. And
so we don't have any of that. We don't do state or city tax. Like there is no income tax at the state and city level in South Dakota. So we're lucky in that regard.
So the state and the city doesn't have it. It's just not like you just chose yourself not to pay those taxes.
Yeah, we just said no, we're not doing. No, they don't have it here, so we don't have to do that.
There's been a pothole in front of my house. I'm not paying you anything this year.
But no, there's plenty of potholes in my own driveway. I can't really complain at them.
So yeah, the mileage, I guess that was where we talked about cell phones and home office space. Mileage was a big one.
Speaking of driving, and when you're driving and you're going out to those garage sales, like we go to citywides all the time. And like I said, the nearest major town to us is like an hour away. So when we go out sourcing for the day, we have to eat. Yeah, and that's true. That's also deductible. It's not like I can run home when I'm an hour, 2 hours away from home. So that's a business expense.
Yes, it is. You can't pack like a snack, like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something like that. Maybe a container of Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Quit trying to find loopholes in my tax code, Ken. I need my deductions and my Taco John's. Leave it alone.
Well, that's true. When you are out, there are those meal expenses. If you're saving those receipts, when you are out doing that, when you're traveling for, maybe you're going to a meetup or something like that, those meals can be deducted.
I think at 50%, your dining can be deducted at 50% as long as it has something to do with business. And if you're out of town for business, for sourcing, I'd say that qualifies. Do you find yourself like when you're in that situation, like getting this supersized meal, like spending a little bit more just because you're going to be able to write that off? Not for tax reasons, more just for I'm fat and I like big meals.
I like big meals. Oh, they did do Baby Got Back at the dueling pianos.
Were you singing that one?
Oh yeah, of course. Hey, my anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hon. I mean, I've always said that even before Sir Mix-a-Lot.
That's always been a saying of mine. I've been saying that for years. Oh, this show just got bad.
I don't know. But what's something else that you are deducting that
well, you mentioned training and meetups and conferences and things like that. Those are deductible. Your travel, your airfare, your hotels, your dining while you're on those, any food you're buying during that. Those are all deductible. Now, again, I think food is only 50% usually. But like your travel and your hotel and stuff like that, I think that's 100% deductible.
So watch this. So let's just say you were going to the Plains to Profit meetup February the 23rd in Omaha, Nebraska. That's deductible. That travel, that mileage, that airfare.
Guess who's not going to get to deduct that this year?
Hashtag FOMO. That's
sorry, I had to.
But if you go to any sort of a conference, any sort of a meetup, anything that is, because some of the meetups are they have the breakout sessions. They have the stuff where you're learning. But even when you go to one like a reseller rally or something like that, that is just a meetup.
Yep.
I still just sat and talked with other resellers. We learned, we networked, we did sort of, that sort of stuff. And
It's still, it's still an industry conference. It's still a meetup about your job.
Yes.
Now I got a scratchy voice and I wasn't singing at all. But that applies to all kinds of training. I mean, if you go to the library and buy a book on different kinds of glass, I mean,
you anything. Have to buy books at your library?
I don't know. I've never been to my library, but maybe. My library is like Barnes and Noble.
What is it about books that make people be quiet? At the library, you're supposed to be quiet because, people are studying, they're researching, they're doing stuff. Why are people quiet at the Barnes and Noble? I don't know. It's just like a public place. It just seems like there's something about books. It's like, shh, people want you to be quiet around books. For some reason.
Disturb the pages. That's a good question. We should dig into that more. Episode 88. Why are book places so quiet? I have theories, but I'm not going to share them on this episode.
We should get Katie Reeds on here. We should get a special guest, Katie Reeds, to find out why people are quiet around books.
We could.
I think that's even a more exciting topic than taxes.
I don't think we got to stretch it too far to get more exciting than taxes.
Okay, what else are you deducting?
Probably the normal stuff, the stuff everybody knows about right now, and that's your equipment and supplies, your bubble wrap, your tape, your scissors, anything you buy that's a normal expense you're using for your business. If you need a new tape gun this year, you need a new workbench that you had to buy, shelving, all that kind of stuff is all deductible. So
I will not only will I be taking that home office deduction for the space, also I redid that whole office out in the garage. All of that stuff that I needed to be able to do that, to convert that over into that space, new shelving units, new, to me, carpeting on the floor, another printer, like a Rollo, or whatever, to have out there, so I can have, 2 locations for printers. Any of the supplies or whatever, I needed some new lighting and stuff, and that is all dedicated to that home office, which is part of my reselling business. That is a dedicated space for that. And so I'm going to
get like that 3/4 inch thick, like rubber foam they put down at daycares and stuff so the kids don't get hurt. You can put that down in there in case you fall again.
Yeah. Oh, I need to get that for the driveway. I need to replace the gravel driveway. I've been thinking about getting, concrete or blacktop. Maybe I should look into like that, like the AstroTurf, like that the football players play on.
Just a rubber driveway.
But hey,
Rubbermaid.
I like that idea.
Just lay out old tires.
Yeah, drive over those. It's so that any supplies, the boxes, the bubble wraps, the tapes, the anything that you purchase for use in the business is deductible for sure.
Now you can also, if you have children, you can also pay your children up to a certain amount. And
you were telling me about this, and that's something I had not thought of. What are you talking about?
Are you considering having kids so you can take advantage of this?
Hey, any advantage I can get to pay less taxes, if I don't think I'll go to that extreme,
They're more expensive than the deduction, I assure you. But if you do have kids, I mean, I think you can pay them up to like $5,000 a year, and they don't have to pay tax. They don't have to file as long as they stay under that amount. So it's a straight deduction across the board for you, and they don't have to file or worry about paying taxes on that money either. So like if my kids were home, we would probably do something like set up an account for them to use for all their extracurriculars and sports and whatever they're into throughout the year. And then we would just load that up throughout the year for doing, cleaning up the office or helping list a few things or something like that. So that is a deduction that's available to you, and it's money you're going to spend anyway.
Almost like that you were doing an allowance. So like if you're going to buy your kid, school clothes or whatever. They're going to they're going to be in band and they need a new trumpet or something like that. You would pay them almost like a salary.
Right.
And then they buy the stuff. So it's just kind of that transference of money. Either you're buying the new trumpet or they're buying the new trumpet, but you can hire them, I guess.
And quite frankly, I mean, if you've had kids, you know, kids eat a lot, and I'm a firm believer in child labor. If they're going to eat, I think they need to work a little.
Fair
like they got to sweep
labor
the floor or something
within the laws. Now, can I just go out and get random children? Like
you can, but I don't know if they apply for the deduction. Like I don't know if they qualify here.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. If you do have children and you can kind of just transfer that money over a little bit, that's it's something I would have never thought of doing. Just because I don't have kids to be able to put them to work.
I mean, imagine, you know, you got 3 kids. I think that applies per child too. So
yeah,
you got 3 kids and you could find some kind of chore for them to do in your business and you could pay them up to $5,000 a piece per year. That's a big deduction.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, definitely.
That makes a big difference at the end of the year. And you're going to spend that money on them anyway. So like I said, just make it part of their chores.
Hey, with the amount of money, if I, you know, had a couple kids or whatever, and with the amount of money that I make on eBay, I think the government would owe me something at the end.
I don't think you could file for a return.
So, you know, one of the things that we were talking about too is different like reoccurring fees or subscriptions or things like that. I think just basically if you have an eBay store, if you
not Netflix,
not Netflix, not generally. Well, unless you use it as a you know, a legitimate reselling source. Like for example, you know, I use YouTube all the time for whether it's to research stuff, to buy stuff, to do whatever. And I have like the YouTube Premium that I get. Now that's so that I don't have to watch the ads and stuff like that. But I am using it a lot for research of things. But just like I started there with your eBay store. If you have an eBay store, you don't have to have a store or pay those fees to eBay.
There's a subscription there
to be a seller on eBay. But if you do, there's a subscription fee, either monthly or, you know, if you pay it by the year or whatever, that is deductible.
We've got StreamYard too, or StreamYard. We have what is that called? Why am I having not StreamYard, the one where you look up your items that are older than what's on eBay. WorthPoint. Wow.
Yes.
See, it's these morning times, guys. We have WorthPoint. That's a subscription.
When you start broadcasting on WorthPoint, let me know. That's,
I'm going live on WorthPoint, guys.
You know, any
technically, I'm old enough. I think you can only get on there once you're so old, right? Isn't that the way they work with the items?
Yes, I believe so. Yes,
I qualify.
Well, the subscription that I use for this podcast,
which is StreamYard,
get it out there. Well, I do is StreamYard, but also I use a service called Podbean for the, you know, because I am directly using some of that stuff here and especially the StreamYard as well, because I do, you know, my show, which is basically a straight reselling show. I do, you know, this broadcast and stuff. So some of those monthly subscriptions that are directly related, and I can show how they are directly related to my reselling business.
Oh, that's easy. They contribute a huge factor towards your reselling. I mean, they keep you busy not making money so that you can't list.
Yes, exactly. And
they have a huge effect on your business.
If you are gaining income from, you know, if you're a monetized YouTube channel.
Technically, we are on this channel, aren't we?
Oh, we are monetized. We're at that first level of monetization. And so when we do the lives, we've got some super chats. And I think there's like that little earn button or that little money button down there. Somebody wanted to push that. I finally got all that stuff set up, Cory. Just FYI. My photo room app. I pay for the photo room app to do like some of those AI backgrounds and stuff, but to remove backgrounds in bulk, I think you have to have the subscription. I don't know if that's true, but I think you have to have a subscription to Photo Room to be able to
that's it. Bulk. Have you tried not to go off topic of the taxes that has got everybody glued to their
Oh,
seats
yeah.
here, but have you tried the white background removal lately on eBay?
I
Like
have
the
not.
eBay's version of it? I think it's
No.
gotten better. Like I
Oh,
tried it the
really?
other day and it actually does a pretty decent job compared to
I
what
will.
it did like a year ago when we
Oh,
tried
it
it.
was horrible when it first
Yeah.
came out. Of course, they're always tweaking stuff and doing things, but
Maybe it
yeah,
was just a good photo for it and it worked out well, but it seems like it's gotten better.
I'll have to give it a second peek. But
So,
I use Photo Room for a lot of that stuff, and I pay for that subscription, and so I'm deducting that because that is directly related to the reselling. Um, what are some? Oh, here's another thing that I had. Now I won't have the deduction this year, but I had a storage unit that I was
oh,
paying
that's a good
for
one.
down the street. So that those monthly fees for the storage unit, again, because all of my overflow of death pile inventory was in there. So I take off a storage unit. Probably a multitude of things. What was there anything else on your list? My internet, my home internet, that
Yeah.
because I could take a portion of the home internet because I can't do this without the internet. I can't list, I can't do anything without
You're an
some
online
sort of
seller. The
internet.
internet's kind of
Yeah.
vital.
Yes. And so, part of that
So
internet,
I think there's a wide variety of things we haven't even come close to touching on. But I mean,
no,
essentially, if you're spending money and you can associate it to your business in some way, there's
yes.
probably a spot where you can deduct that amount of money.
Yeah.
And with a 1099, that is exactly what you need to be doing. Like that's why they give you a 1099. This is pure income. We expect you
Yeah.
to fill in your deductions, and that's on you. And
Yeah.
the less you put in there, the more money you're going to pay taxes on. And I
Yeah.
guess it depends on you. Do you want to
Yeah.
pay more than you have to? I know I don't.
Exactly. And people worry about being audited and stuff. And if you are, get a CPA, get a tax accountant, get whatever. There's lots of good products that help with that. Like again, I have no affiliation, but it's like My Reseller Genie or whatever.
Yeah.
There's some of these softwares that are out there that help you to keep track of all those records. So when it comes up to tax time, but it's all about preparation and organization. I know my first year when I started and it got up to tax time, although I had watched a number of videos and I asked questions of people that were other
Yeah.
resellers and how they're doing things. A lot of people don't want to share their numbers. A lot of people don't want to share I'm not usually one to share my sales numbers or any, income, that sort of stuff. But people are usually willing, if it's another reseller, to help you, answer questions or whatever. But
Yeah.
get a tax accountant if you're not sure. I'm not really overly afraid of being audited. And if I would, it would just be that inconvenience because I try to be fair, and I'm a fair and upfront and honest guy, and I try to
I'd say
maybe there's some things that
probably the easiest thing you can do is if you, well, one, if you're afraid of being audited, just be upfront and not only take what you can like legally
tangibly
take.
show.
Like,
Yes.
don't try and be shady at all, and you're probably gonna be fine. But being organized takes any worry of that away anyway. I mean,
Yes.
like when we started doing this, we immediately moved into one bank account for just this. That's all we use that bank account for.
Yes.
We have one
That's
credit card that we use just for this if we need to make big purchases or anything, but that gets used for nothing else. So we have one debit card, one credit card, and that's it. Any ATM withdrawal we see, we know we're pulling cash out to go sourcing with.
yes.
Every other transaction is in one of those bank records, either the bank or the
Yes.
credit card. If I get audited, I pull those two accounts up and print the statements out and say, go do your work.
Yeah.
That there's not much else to prove.
We should have started with that. We should have started, Cory, let's start all over. Okay. Hey, we're going to talk about taxis today, and we don't have Uber. Oh, wait, we won't go back that far. But that's probably one of the things that we should have talked about too, is if you are getting into reselling business or, if you're new to all of this, is that initial organization and having a separate account. If you're going to do this
Yeah.
as a business that you are going to, pay taxes on or whatever, having a separate account away from your stuff, a separate savings checking, whatever it is, something that has a debit card, a separate credit card, it makes it so much easier to separate
Very
this
much
stuff
so.
later on, that if it's not coming out of your personal account, a portion of it, if you
if it's
got
all
20
mixed
bucks
in,
in
it
your
makes
pocket.
finding what's what really difficult.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I'm not upset that we didn't put that out front. This podcast is kind of like a blow pop. Like, you want to get to the gum in the middle, but you got to get through all that crap on the outside first. So we'll set this over here on the end.
The blow
That's
pop
your
of
reward.
podcast. Yes. Be organized. That's
It's like a reward.
It is. Here at the end. Oh man, that I would be sad if I got to the center of my Tootsie Pop and this is what
that
I
was
got.
the prize.
Be organized. This is Ken and Cory talking about. What else did you have? Did you have anything else about stuff on?
I don't. I think I'm ready just to get on with my day and ignore this Super Bowl crap that's going on today. And
yeah, I would say overall, it can be a stressful time. I know my first year having to do my taxes was very stressful. Didn't want to know, you're afraid of audits, you're afraid of whatever. But I know I talked to some really good folks and got some, what I thought to be really good advice. And it's not as scary as it needs to be. You can do them on your own. It's just keeping those good records and thinking through that I use this, keep receipts throughout the year, keep some sort of organization to it from the very beginning. And it's not bad. I take an afternoon or usually a couple afternoons, on a weekend or whatever, to do my personal taxes. One day I'll go through like all of the income stuff. And then the next day, once I got all of that organized and stuff, then I'll do all my expenses. And
it's like a half day is doing the income stuff. That's a short day, right?
Pretty much. Well, yeah, with the way that I organize, it is, yeah, because there's not very much there. Hey, $10 is $10. The way that I organize my spreadsheet is that takes a little bit from all of those reports that I pull from eBay and such like that.
I think staying organized is that's probably the biggest tip you can have for doing your taxes, not have to worry, is just figure out a way to organize yourself through the year. And don't do something to organize yourself that you're not gonna stay up with. Like we use a spreadsheet. We also use My Reseller Genie, but we use My Reseller Genie because I love the reports, the insights they give you into your business.
Yeah.
But if you're not the kind of person that's gonna go plug numbers in and keep up with that through the year, don't do it. Don't waste your time. Figure it out a different way. Because if you're not going to do it, you're just going to make it way harder at the end of the year.
Yeah. But so that's tax talk, I guess. Nothing official.
Tax talk.
Just you don't need to be scared of it. If you are, get a professional to do it. Take all your numbers.
Is this where we put the disclaimer right here at the end that says we made all this crap up?
We are not tax professionals, and please do not follow any of this advice. And again, I don't think that we gave advice, just kind of things that we do or things that we look for, things that we might be able to deduct. And maybe, if you have something, throw down in the comments. If you're still here this far in, throw down in the comments some other things that you might know of that are deductions that people might not normally think of, or are you doing your own taxes? Do you use a software? Do you use a CPA? Tell us that we're full of beans, and we should just go kick rocks or something like that. Beans. Because don't get started on beans. Doing your beans. We had like a 2-mile conversation the other day on Cory and his beans, and what was it you were putting like?
I don't like soup. Well, I like soup. I just don't like it to be soup.
Exactly. Yeah, he likes it. If he can't, he likes chunky brand soup. Oh, I should have had a can. That if you can't eat it with a fork, it's soup that eats like a meal. That's what you want.
Would that make me like a stew person? Like I don't like.
Yeah.
But if I drink it, it's not eating. It's weird. Okay. I know my brain's broken, but still, if I drink it, it's not really eating. So then I'm still hungry. So if I have a bowl of like soupy like chicken noodle soup or something, I have to fill it up with saltine crackers just to make it.
You're not a broth fan. That's what it is.
I like the taste of broth. It's a fantastic drink. It's not food.
So do you eat your like chicken noodle out of a cup? I mean, and just like tip it up and.
No, I put it in a bowl and then I fill it with crackers until I can eat it with a fork.
Well,
like I said, I like soup. I just don't like it to be soup. I like it to be eatable, like with a fork.
Eatable?
Not drinkable, yes.
Okay, gotcha. Well, there you go. We're gonna watch me bring this all the way back around too. Take your loved one out for some soup this Wednesday.
Don't do that.
This Wednesday.
How much do you really like that person if you're buying them a drink for dinner? Don't do that.
It's
take them out for a real meal.
Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Coming up this week. Again, we'll see if my Super Bowl prediction of San Francisco prevails. I have no particular reason to pick them. I'm just doing that. I think we're gonna wrap this one up, Cory. In case you got anything, unless you got anything else.
Nah, I'm good. Let's get out of here.
You're good. All right.